Hey gang, so what should you be reading? What's the next book you should pick up and try out? Who's the author you haven't tried yet, but you really ought to know about? I know there's some people out there who are just getting started as readers and they're building their personal libraries and they want to know where they should start or who they should read next. Other people feel like they've read everything and everywhere they go, it seems like they get the same recommendations and they're looking for something new or something different. So I think I can help you with this. My name is Andrew Moore. I'm professor of great books at St. Thomas University. I spend my time studying and teaching some of the greatest things that have ever been written. It's a pretty good gig, honestly. And I've got some practical tips, 5 practical tips. In fact, these are places you can go or tactics you can use to find good things to read. You don't want to waste your time reading bad books. I want to help you find good book recommendations, lists, curated and vetted by people who know what they're talking about. For example, my first tip, I've mentioned this before on the channel, people seem to like it. Do a Google search for course syllabus. So what is a course syllabus? A syllabus is something we use. It's a document we use in college and university classrooms, and it spells out for all the students all the assignments and the due dates and class policies like late penalties and all those kinds of things. But the course syllabus also includes a reading list, a list of the books that students need to buy and their reading assignments for the whole term or semester. Now, what you might not realize is that many professors post their course syllabi on the internet. They're publicly accessible. So if you're interested in literature from a particular country or from a particular time period, written by a certain author or a certain kind of genre, you can search a course syllabus on that subject and find a whole reading list. What are professors assigning in their courses? What do they think their students ought to read? This is a strategy I sometimes use myself as an academic. If I want to learn something about a new field or a new topic and I don't really know where to start, I don't know who the authorities on that subject are or who the most influential thinkers are. One of the nice things about this strategy is that you are relying on the expertise of experts. These are professors who have curated carefully their syllabus. They've chosen the readings for their students, and these are the books or these are the texts that they think a person needs to read in order to understand a particular genre or a particular literary movement or whatever. So you're likely to find some good stuff there. And if you're interested in reading really good stuff, like the best stuff, then this next strategy is for you. Search for Giller Prize long list. Now, I mentioned the Giller Prize here. This is the annual prize for the best books written in Canada, but you could also search up the Booker Prize long list or the Dublin Literary Award long list. These are national and international literary awards that are given out to the best books written every year. Now, the reason I think you want to seek out the long lists is because they're longer lists. This is where you get all the nominees, not just the book that won the prize, but all of the books that were nominated for that prize. So you get a long list of all the best books written in a particular year. You can check the different prizes. They'll have different lists. And I would encourage you to expand your time horizon. You don't just need to seek out the best books written in 2025 or 2026. What was on the long list in 2014? What was on the long list in 2007? There's a whole universe of literary achievement that you can explore. This is a great way to find quality reading material, critically acclaimed stuff, the books that were driving the public conversation in a particular year. It's also a good way to discover new and emerging authors. Now, if you're looking to read the most famous books by the most influential writers like ever, I have another strategy for you. There's a website you should know about called Open Syllabus. So Open Syllabus is a nonprofit organization, and what it does is it surveys all the course reading lists that it can find that are publicly available on the internet. And then they aggregate this data to find out what are the most commonly taught texts and books. What books are the most foundational or the most influential in all these different fields. And the cool thing about it is that it's searchable. So you can go to this thing called Open Syllabus Galaxy, and you can see this crazy map or network of all of these different books. And if you zoom in on any particular area, you can see all of the most commonly taught texts on that subject or in that field, these big circles. And the bigger the circle, the more influential or the more common that text is on university syllabi. If you're interested in English literature, well, what are some of the most commonly taught texts? Well, 1984, Frankenstein, Dubliners. You zoom in a bit more and you can see Orlando by Virginia Woolf or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So this is a useful tool, especially if you're interested in reading some of these books that are considered the greatest of all time. It's also helpful if you want to read beyond just literature. If you want to read history or psychology or sociology, you can search those fields too and find the authors and the texts who are considered the most influential in all of those subjects. Now, the one drawback here is that there's a huge amount of data for you to sift through here. There's just limitless titles. But again, if you're just interested in learning, well, what are the most influential books, the books that everybody thinks you're supposed to read, this is one tool you can use to figure that out. Now, if you want a list of recommendations that is more tailored to you, something that is curated by a professional, then you'll be interested in this next tip. Seek out local library websites. Local libraries are an underutilized resource and they are incredible. Here, for example, is the webpage for my local library. And when I went to seek this out, I found you can actually request personalized reading recommendations. You can tell them what kinds of books you like, and librarians will write you back to give you specific recommendations based on your tastes and your interests. What a service! What a service! So you should certainly check out your local library. Maybe they offer a similar service. But here's the thing. Here's a trick. You don't need to restrict yourself to your local library. You can look at the website for any library, and what you will find there is a plethora of reading recommendations. So many book lists and top 10 lists and book club recommendations. Just for instance, the Seattle Public Library has a blog, and here's a post just as an example where they list off a whole bunch of recent nonfiction books that you might want to check out. The Toronto Public Library has this great reading challenge, this great list of books, which includes contemporary stuff and classic stuff. This is amazing. Libraries are fantastic institutions. They are this amazing idea from the past that remains an amazing idea today. You can get a library card and go down there and get books for free. They'll just lend them to you. So if there are books that you're curious about, you want to try, but I don't want to invest the money, that's what the library's for. It's fantastic. And maybe you know this or maybe you don't, but now in the 21st century, it's not the 20th century. 20th century was a long time ago. I am hip and modern. Now in the 21st century, you can borrow ebooks and you can borrow audiobooks, which again, you might be laughing at me because of course you can, but you can get that stuff from the library now. So if that's how you like to read, if you like audiobooks or you like ebooks, you can get that from the library too. Also, not for nothing, but your public library is one of the building blocks of democracy. They provide information and knowledge. They make it accessible to every citizen, every person in the community, and you should support them. Now, I've got one more tip, and this is especially if you want to find trendy books. Like what are the hot new things that are upcoming? What's coming down the river? What's coming down Trendy Book River? It's not a hot and trendy river books. All right. Anyway. One thing I notice about a lot of my peers, a lot of booktubers and book talk people, which, way to go, team, encourage people to read. But a lot of people are recommending the same stuff, it seems. Even people in my orbit who are recommending, talking about classic literature and classic books, a lot of the time, it's like the same books, which, it's all good stuff. Don't get me wrong, but maybe you're looking for something different. You're looking for something new. You're interested in what are the things I didn't hear about or haven't heard about before? How do I find out about those books? One way to do this, I think, is to visit just go right to the source. Visit publisher websites. The publishers they advertise on their site the new books that they're publishing, what's coming out, what's coming soon, what were the most popular books of the year. Sometimes they'll curate lists like the popular books from the 80s or 90s. And every publisher is different. Every publisher publishes certain kinds of books. Like if there's a book you really enjoyed and found really interesting, who published it? Go look at that publisher. See what other things that they publish. Look at your own bookshelves. Who published those books that you like? Go visit those publishers and see what else they publish. One other advantage of this, I think, is that we often read things that are recommended to us by booktubers, or maybe we hear about them on podcasts or the radio. The radio? What is happening? Anyway, let's say you heard about some books from somewhere. Well, the thing is that those books are probably being pushed out by the publishers, right? Like sometimes I get emails from publishers saying, hey, we'll send you this book. Would you like to review it? It's not really what I do around here, but anyway, publishers, they put on a push for particular books, right? And so they send all those to the booktubers. So if you're seeing a book show up everywhere, it's because the publisher is like pushing that book. And so, one thing, I don't know if this matters to you or not, but if you go back to the publisher, you're kind of like, sort of like cutting out the middleman or something. You can go to the publisher's website and you can see for yourself, what are the books that the publishers want everybody, what are they going to be recommending to the booktubers? You can see what they're going to be recommending to the booktubers before the booktubers even know themselves. It's like you're going further down Trendy Book River back to, before the books flow down to the booktubers. You get what I'm saying? And listen, if you want to read not just the trendy stuff, the most recent stuff, but you've always been interested in classic literature and getting into that, finding out more about that, you can check out this video over here. I made a video on tips about how you might get into classic literature. So click the link. I will see you there, and I'll talk to you soon.